some of it could be either boredom, some of it could be lack of certainty about what's going on in our future. So that's understandable, and focusing back on what you can control is what you think and how you act. And obviously the better fuel that you put in your body is going to give you better thoughts, because if we're putting in processed foods and sugars, and it creates this vicious cycle of more negative thoughts, more bad feelings, so, and we're being forced to slow down at the moment too, which isn't very comfortable for people that are used to being busy and not having to sit with uncomfortable feelings. Could be things suppressed in relationships, could be things from childhood, just could be, lack of direction. So understanding that feelings are okay, and it's actually better to acknowledge if you're really hungry or whether you're just emotionally eating and it's a feeling that you're trying to suppress. That would be a starting point. Then I would also try and recommend looking at just 3 basic meals. So let's say you're not used to someone that likes planning your meals out, but you could do it just for a day or just for 2 days. Look at suggestions that you hear online as maybe experiment, right? So just experiment on yourself for a day and see if you feel just that little bit better. So bulking up half of your plate with veggies. If I get really stressed, I'd always go to making a dip, which is full of herbs, and I'm using a cooked onion one at the moment. So I love cooked red onion with lots of herbs and some spices and sauce. So that's my go-to, so that I can snack then on veggie sticks when I'm just before making a meal. But I also recommend just keeping your meals to 3 a day, so not snacking, or 2 even a day. So I like a window of fasting that is just natural of 12 to 16 hours, keeping that frame as like just water and herbal teas, and if you have to have warm coffee a day. But then looking at just plenty of plants. So all your vegetables will actually give you better quality gut bacteria, and that's also going to give you better mood. So most of our serotonin, your happy, feel-good neurotransmitter, is made in your gut. And so if you're putting, processed foods, I say to my patients, it's a bit like putting it's feeding the weeds. So you don't really want a lot of weeds in your gut garden. Ideally, you want to be growing beautiful flowers there so that it produces nice thoughts that go up the vagus nerve and into your brain, so that you can actually feel more positive and more power in your control around these circumstances. So 3 meals a day, looking at protein, fat and fibre as a foundation to have at each of those meals. So essential amino acids are given that name because we need them from our diet. Our body can't convert them, and the building blocks of our DNA is actually protein. So it's really important that you've got that little bit. You don't have to sit down and have a steak 3 times a day, but at least keeping some protein like an egg, or some, even for vegetarians, keeping up their protein is really important for their mental health. Then also your anti-inflammatories come from omega-3s, so fish oils, hemp seeds, chia seeds, and they also got some fibre in those seeds as well, so that's very beneficial. And then the other part of the formula, which is the fat, the right kind of fat is what I'm meaning. So omega-3s, and then your olive oil, coconut oil in moderation, and avocados. They're just really wonderful fats, and your brain communicates, your neurons between your brains made of a membrane of fat. So the quality of fat that you get affects the communication between those brain cells. So it's going to give you, again, better brain function, and which is always going to help give you better actions and better results. So one of the other things I like to mention to my patients is some of the building blocks that I work with are around gut absorption, because we're not just what we take, but what we absorb. So having even bone broth, if you get quite stressed and you don't know what to eat and you've got all these digestive reactions going on, well, look at, again, vegetables and plants, and a little bit of protein, they are less inflammatory and create less bloating and fermentation than what other types of carbs will do. And I'm a huge fan of carbs, don't get me wrong, but the right kinds of ones. I love root veggies and your grains, like your soaked grains in the right types. But bone broth is really useful for people that are not sure of what to have. Just letting the body reset. There's some collagen, some gelatin, and it's got a lot of minerals in the bone broths as well. And you can buy them from quite good brands out there now, especially the concentrate ones to just add into your veggies. Water goes without saying. If people are dehydrated, they're not going to clear out the toxins. And yeah, then looking at the building blocks of what is really a cell and a gut bacteria needing, rather than just what we've been conditioned to expect and need, since we grew up in a Western culture where we weren't necessarily told that, the quality of our food really makes a difference. And for thousands of years, Hippocrates used to say, all disease begins in the gut. And so it's not just what we eat, but what we absorb and what we eliminate. So please take care of your gut and you'll have nice growing flowers in your gut garden.